Hey everyone. Plenty of people in the past have had an explosive rise to stardom, usually doing their own things at first, until one day they have a great opportunity offered by someone else. And that's exactly how I feel Lil Jon got massive, because compared to other people, he really did have a sudden spike in popularity. But the one thing I feel like separates him from others is how he was able to maintain his fame, because there's no better way than becoming an impression, where people just quote you, and it's immediately seen as funny. I'm sure at first, for him, he found it alright, but there's only a certain point where it goes from amusing to annoying. But even after reaching what seemed like his peak years ago, he's still doing stuff today, which is a quality about him that I really have to respect.
In Lil Jon's most successful song of all time, he says 12 words total. In his second most successful song of all time, he says just 19 unique words. But truthfully, most people would associate him with the 3 most basic words in the English language.
Yeah! What? Okay!
Now, people often criticize rappers for having...
I don't know that was him that said those historical words.
Less words equals less talent. But Lil Jon isn't a rapper. And some would argue that being able to build a legacy as iconic as his on such few words is actually more difficult, especially when you consider he kinda did this all by accident. Stay hydrated. Lil Jon is known for his energy, hype, and love for partying, with iconic lines like, "If you ain't getting drunk, get the fuck out the club." He carried that same energy throughout his early years. In high school, he loved punk rock music, spending his weekends in mosh pits at Agent Orange shows. And considering his love for partying, what's more important to a party than a DJ? At age 16, Lil Jon taught himself how to DJ in his parents' basement. They used to let him throw his own parties under their supervision rather than let him be in the streets somewhere. And that proved to be the right decision, because
I would be happier locking up my own son in the basement to make like dog beats on his MacBook.
Gig at Club Phoenix in downtown Atlanta. It was at Club Phoenix where he was scouted by rapper, producer, and executive Jermaine Dupri. Although Dupri was impressed by his DJing, he actually wanted him to be an A&R. When it came to A&R, all I could think about was Lil Jon, because he was the person in the clubs. He knew people. DJs knew him. I had to hire him. An A&R's job is essentially to recruit and discover talent for the labels to sign. But So So Def was not even close to a well-established label, and Lil Jon didn't see this as a promising career path. He actually was considering enrolling in Georgia State University, and even took some courses at Fort McPherson through Georgia Military College. But Dupri greenlit an album for $100,000 and gave Lil Jon full creative control. So a music career was on the horizon.
Holy shit.
With that,
being 16 having that much money backed up on a project, for some guy that's walked into a club be like, oh my god, he has potential for being a DJ or A&R, whatever he said.
Producers, DJs, and artists in the underground Atlanta scene to create the So So Def Bass All-Stars album. As you can imagine, it was an album full of dancey fun bangers.
I miss this era of like album covers that just has like the worst art possible.
My Boo by Ghost Town DJs became known for the Running Man Challenge, a viral dance that absolutely dominated the internet in 2016, bringing it to number 27
that was such
on
like a
Billboard
time
100
capsule of an
20 years
era.
later. Lil Jon produced that song 2 decades earlier. However, in 1996, the album was also pretty popular. It climbed to the 9th spot on the R&B and hip-hop chart, solidifying Lil Jon's presence and influence in the music industry. Jon was known all around the country for turning up clubs with the songs he produced. Now it was time for him to jump on the mic. The group Lil Jon and the East Side Boys was formed, with him and his 2 childhood friends, Big Sam and Lil Bo. We'd be the rowdy crowd in the club. So Lil Jon told me and Bo we were going to do a song, Who You With. I was like, okay, we'll do a song and that'll be it. And a couple weeks later, they came back and said, we want you guys to do an album. So we did an album. I don't know why he chose us. I'm just glad he did. Lil Jon and
so far it sounds like really nice. Just being that young, being like a DJ like random clubs, even if you're not getting paid, that still like sounds fun, especially if you're passionate like he was. And then making a song with like your own childhood friends with money backed up into it, that's pretty good, to be honest, already.
You Wit, the album, in 1997. The album was jam-packed with records that talked about shaking ass and getting lit, complemented by production containing simple synth melodies, repetitive claps, and lots of bass.
He does feel like a kind of a milquetoast person with how generic these names are.
They had the underground in a chokehold because their records were fun. They reduced the idea of having intricate verses to fun chants that everyone in the club would memorize before the song was over. Put Yo Hood Up, Move and Be a Bia were perfect examples of this. But even still, by this point, Lil Jon never considered himself a rapper, which is ironic because this was arguably the most rapping he ever did, and would ever do in his career. Crunk music was about a hot beat, a hot hook, and something
Why is he wearing that shirt?
Crunk is best
Can he wear
defined
that
as a
shit?
fusion of Miami bass and Memphis buck roughneck chants backed with 808 beats and humming bass. Lil Jon was able to fuse the energy of bass music with
DJ
street rap,
Smurf.
and
That's the only
most of us were
name
introduced to
my
Lil
eyes
Jon in
fixated on.
2002 with the track Get Low alongside the Yin Yang Twins on the album Kings of Crunk. In the early 2000s, the music video was more important than ever. Many of you probably remember the days of turning on MTV and just seeing what new songs would pop up. The video for Get Low showed Lil Jon's over-the-top outfit, cane, and signature iced out cup full of who knows what. This video sent the song all the way to number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100. Lil Jon became the most requested artist for radio DJs, and since he was a DJ himself, they were more than happy to play his tracks. Shake That Monkey peaked at 84 on the Billboard Hot 100. Salt Shaker peaked at number 9. Damn peaked at number 4, which was an anthem to taunt your ops in the club. 2003, Lil Jon was on fire, and everyone in the industry wanted him on their song if they wanted it to go crazy in the club, and Usher was the first artist to truly capitalize on that. At the time, Usher was an R&B sensation who had slow and sensual songs topping the charts, but he wasn't exactly being played in the clubs. Lil Jon was about to change that when they linked up and made a song called Yeah, with the hook focusing
That's
on
kind
one
of funny,
Jon's
the idea of
iconic
being so
ad-libs
of someone making like kind of music they want
They needed a
to,
rapper
but they know full well
certified
that's not doing so well on the Billboard, so they have to get like the most generic person in the industry.
With Usher's lyrics on there, another record instantly, as soon as I heard it, I was in my house in Atlanta. Instantly, I was like, this shit is out of here. It took me no time to write my verse for it. And I was like, this is such a smash, I gotta be on more than just a verse.
Yeah spent an astonishing 12 weeks at the number 1 spot on the Billboard Hot 100. Yeah is a true anthem of the early 2000s and at every awkward middle school dance. It was on every list of the top songs of the decade and is easily one of the most iconic hip-hop club records of all time. From there, he had even more Billboard success with songs named after his ad-libs, Let's Go and OK. He also had Kulo with Pitbull, Lovers and Friends, and What You Gon' Do. Whether it was a song to get the
I really
gangsters
feel like I should have known him way more before this video, with how many people he's worked with. I'm sure I know most of the songs, but yeah, I've never really known the name.
It was Dave Chappelle. On Season 2, Episode 6 of The Chappelle Show, Dave premiered a skit called A Moment in the Life of Lil Jon.
Are you checking any luggage today, sir?
Yeah!
Did you pack the bags yourself?
Yeah!
And the bags have been in your possession the whole time?
What?
I'll never forget the morning after this episode.
Was comedy really that easy back in the day?
School was mimicking this skit, yelling what, yeah, and okay. Because of Dave Chappelle, people who had no idea who Lil Jon was knew him as the guy who said what, yeah, and okay. A moment in
That
the
probably
life
was the
of Lil
best
Jon
way
you
to
can
introduce
go to
white
recurring
people
bit
to
in
Lil
Dave's
Jon.
show. He reimagined the skit in Season 2, Episode 7 and Episode 13 alongside the real Lil Jon. Keep in mind, The Chappelle Show averaged 3.1 million viewers per episode in 2004, just shy of Saturday Night Live's 3.7 million. But his cultural impact reached far and beyond that. At the time, Dave Chappelle was comedy. Whatever he thought was funny, America thought
He
was
was
funny.
comedy.
And Lil Jon
He
one of
was the
most
crackhead
successful
guy from
bits he
that
ever
one
did.
meme.
John even says Dave changed his life.
I was talking about it to him that night. You know, every time I see him, I tell him, you know, like that night, I was like, you ruined my life.
Now, the reason why Lil Jon jokingly says Dave ruined his life is because of, well, this.
What?
Nigga, you sound like a bird. It's like,
What?
you sound like a fucking dying bird.
Is there anything that you say that
I don't blame him. He looks pissed off. So would I. If some random fan be like, hey, turn to the camera, what? And they repeated like the iconic phrase. I don't think there's one thing that celebrities hate more than having a fan come up to them and repeat the same catchphrase they've heard from like a million different fans. I'm trying to think what I would do if I saw someone I liked like out in public. I would probably like go ask for a picture or something. I wouldn't go to them like out of nowhere with a camera in the face or up in the air and repeat like that one joke they've said themselves. I mean, what's the appeal? Like, is the punchline meant to be like, look, this is the one line you're well known for, I'm gonna repeat it back to you. I don't
Why
get
let
it.
that fan
I
scream
don't
to you?
get it.
What?
Yeah.
What is the most annoying ever?
Lil Jon was kind of turned into a meme, which definitely helped his brand recognition, but was likely very annoying over the years to have random people shout at you obnoxiously when you're at the airport or dinner with your family. To make things even worse, the crunk era was dying. quickly. For the next few years, Lil Jon had some popular songs.
That's the saddest sentence in history. The crunk era was dying.
Church. Although the songs made during the snap/crunk era are nostalgic to look back on, the subgenre was very one-dimensional, and it's honestly surprising how long it remained popular. Songs were repetitive, with basic call and response chants, the beats all started to sound the same, and artists lacked the versatility necessary to maintain a fan base. And although Lil Jon was a pioneer of the genre, he needed to pivot or he would get left behind. Since Jon was a producer, he was able to stay in the mix with people who were pushing the next sound. And as we approach the 2010s, we got this new wave of feel-good rap, pop, dance, and
we got the wave of the white man music.
The likes of Flo Rida, Pitbull, and LMFAO. These iconic songs became timeless wedding and prom bangers, and Lil Jon's iconic ad-libs and hype energy fit right into these tunes. Crazy, the anthem, Do You Remember? And you can't forget the legendary Shots. I bet most of you watching remember Lil Jon from this era of his career. And if you think the crunk era went fast, these came and went even faster. One homecoming, one prom, and a wedding.
You're telling me we didn't have monuments based on this really gay music era?
The internet age. As we passed 2010, EDM festivals started becoming bigger and bigger. EDM DJs were often playing Lil Jon and Pitbull's songs Crazy and the Anthem. You also have to remember Lil Jon at his core is a DJ, so he was very curious to enter the new wave of open format DJs, which is basically just a DJ who plays any and all genres rather than just sticking to one. In 2011, he collaborated with Laidback Luke and Steve Aoki on the track Turbulence, which was a huge anthem that year. He started going to massive festivals and performing alongside the DJs he knew. Plus, many upcoming EDM producers in all subgenres, from dubstep to dirty Dutch house to EDM trap, would often sample Lil Jon. His three iconic ad-libs were the perfect vocal chops to complement the energy that these EDM subgenres displayed. Or people often use this vocal shot from the song I'm the Ish by DJ Class.
Put your fucking hands up!
This was the go-to sample right before the beat drop in like 50% of EDM songs that year. But the one EDM track that changed his life was one sent over from DJ Snake. Snake sent Lil Jon a track that had a sample from Redman that said,
"This the countdown, bang the underground."
He wanted Lil Jon to just re-say this phrase, but Jon didn't think the sample fit the energy of the track. On his first listen, he just blurted out, "Turn down for what?" and knew it was a smash. Only Lil Jon can say 4 words into a mic and know that it's gonna be a hit record. He added 8 more words that most of you probably don't even care about. Fire up that loud, another round of shots. But DJ Snake didn't like it. Jon asked Snake to just trust him. They started playing the song at their DJ sets, and the crowd will go nuts.
It was one of the few records I've ever had that when I played it in my sets, every time another DJ came up to me like, yo,
Begging.
What is that?
Yes,
let me
begging.
get that. Let me get that.
Begging.
This song's popularity was
You know
also
what? I respect like how big of like I don't know hook it is in music, but I hate how much it's been drilled into my head when I was a kid. I hate it so
by
much.
Vine users, with the first lady even making a video to it.
Turn up for what?
God bless.
10 years
When I was 12 years old, I heard that line. I could only think, I want Michelle Obama to say that on camera with a horseradish, whatever that was.
1 week for every word he said on the song. Lil Jon was already an icon in hip-hop. This record made him an icon in EDM. And these days, he has a much bigger presence there than in hip-hop. EDM DJs will send him a record to scream one of his iconic phrases before the drop, and he takes 50% of the revenue for the song. And he deserves it, because a Lil Jon sample.
That's a joke. He only says one line, he gets 50% of the cut. There's no way him just blurting out the same people have heard a million times. There's warrants him to get that much money. Oh my.
Will always get people rowdy.
I wasn't that turned out for
Lil Jon's
what,
life is
but
pretty
still.
unpredictable. He's become a big fan of the side quest. He has a successful TV show on HGTV, where he showcased his unique vision and design expertise, surprising the world with his eye for interior aesthetics. He created his own wine label, Little Jonathan Winery, that reflects his unique style and brought a touch of sophistication.
Oh, come
to the
on.
brand.
Out of all the people, he gave it to
Lecturing
the
universities such as
more
Oxford.
compact
In
guy.
music, the less words Lil Jon said, the more successful he was, and he secured a well-deserved legacy from that. But these days, he's got a lot more to say, and we owe it to him to listen.
They gonna say that at my funeral. They gonna be like, he was a good man. Yeah! I said he was a good man. What? Man, he rest in peace. Okay!
If people at my funeral blurted out like the same I said before in my past life, I was just telling Joe Goes and like haunt every single one of them. That sounds so obnoxious. So far from the clips and the interviews, he doesn't seem that annoyed at like how many people keep on repeating it to his face. But if that was me or like literally any other person, I'm pretty sure they would be annoyed to the point that it would just be like, please stop saying it. I beg of you. I can't bear it anymore. But I think with him, I think he was able to like branch out from the first time when he was big and keep on evolving through like other stuff. Where I feel like any other person that was big for one tiny thing, like a catchphrase or like one role in a movie or whatever, they would hate way more because that was the only notable thing in their career that makes them big. But with him, he was able to do other stuff that stopped him from becoming like the one-hit wonder guy, which to me is mind-blowing because with someone like him, it really did seem like he was gonna have one big hit and then just plateau after that, just making money of repeating it over and over. No, but he kept on doing it, which I have to respect. Maybe if I was in that role, I would just like take all the money, just like sit back and relax and just not do anything else. But you can tell with him that he still had that passion for DJing that made him want to keep on going to like festivals and play EDM music. I feel like most famous people would really envy him for being able to like keep on doing the stuff that he likes and wants to do, as opposed to being forced to do the same generic stuff over and over and over until like they just burn out, but they're forced to do it either for money or because they have to like on contract. So I have to respect that, you know. Goddamn. God bless.